who is the dream player that's on the market that could possibly be on the market that would just be like just the most outlandish, crazy, go for it move that Dombrowski could possibly make?
I think it's Luis Robert. I think
Luis Robert.
He's getting away with that. I think him and I know people mixing in like a double trade for him and Garrett Crochet, which or one or the other. I think one of those guys. I think people are drooling over, but it's one of those things. It's a pipe dream, and both players we would have to go for top 5 prospect, probably a Painter or a Aiden Miller type in either type of trade.
All right, serious question. Do you want Luis Robert, knowing how much he's going to cost?
Funny you say that. I do want him, but I am not willing to give up Andrew Painter or Aiden Miller for anyone.
Okay.
So no, I know that's the price. So no,
I don't want him. I don't want Luis Robert.
Why is that?
People are just starstruck with the talent of Luis Robert, and yes, he's incredibly talented. Incredibly talented. The guy straight up can't stay healthy. I like at all. Yeah. Last year was the first season he stayed healthy, and you're talking giving up. They're not like they're prospects, so they're still unknowns. But I mean, you're talking giving up borderline top 25, top 40 prospects for a guy who might play. I mean, how much has he actually played? Like 60% of his games. So you're not talking Luis Robert, generous. The best case scenario. You should probably be thinking about Luis Robert like 60% of the time. And I mean, there on top of the health, there's some issues in his approach as far as I'm concerned. He has a ton of swing and miss. Like he has big time power. He's flashy. He's toolsy player, but you can pitch to Luis Robert. You can get him out. And I still have PTSD from late October last year, where all of our right-handed hitters were swinging and missing at every slider they saw. And Luis Robert, he would fit in perfectly with that strategy because that's his game too.
That would also be doubling down on that strategy that has killed us 2 postseasons in a row. It's a really great point.
He's super talented. No knocking him. It's his approach it works for him. I don't know if it's going to work for the team though, and it's going to cost a lot to do that. I think there's other teams that are going to want him more, and there's going to be cost-conscious teams that are really going to look at that contract and say, that is a player we can build around because he's not making a ton of money. He's underpaid. So
I was going to say the devil's advocate is definitely that his contract structure, like for like the way the Phillies are set up with like Real Muto, Schwarber, Castellanos, all going off contract in the next 3 off seasons. Having a guy that makes $15 million this year and then has $20 million team options is very team friendly. So I see that point and I see the upside, but you're right. The type of player that he actually is right now, like what he's proven is not worth us to trade our elite prospects. I mean, those 2 guys I brought up, they're elite. They're not, you shouldn't trade them for him.
Yeah, some team's going to trade for him probably, and they're going to get a very good player, and good for that team and good for that fan base, good for Luis Robert. But I don't think the fit's here. And then Garrett Crochet, the other name you mentioned, he's on my fantasy team. He's sick. There's nothing else to say about him. He's sick, but with him, like I'm dealing with this now as a fantasy manager. The wall's going to come for him at some point because he has pitched like 22 professional innings before this season. And he's at like 70 already in 2024. So the wall's coming. He's probably going to get shut down this year, if I'm being completely honest. Doesn't bode well for my fantasy team. But when he's pitching, he might be a top 5 pitcher. I don't even know if it's a hot take anymore. On a per inning basis, he might be a top 5 pitcher. Another team's going to probably trade for him, and they're going to get a very good pitcher. But this is a team that's going to need production come October. This isn't a team that's trying to build for. I mean, we are building for 3 or 4 years, but this is kind of the window. Like we're in it right now. We don't need to be developing Garrett Crochet and managing his innings. I think a team like maybe a younger team that has like a window that's in the next 5 years could trade for him, and they'd be in a good spot. But no, I don't think he makes sense either, and he's going to cost freaking. I don't know if that's a curse word. We don't curse on the show. A ton. Yeah, a ton. He's going to cost because he's cheaper than Robert, and he, like I said, pitching is a commodity in this game. So no.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. With what we need to succeed in the playoffs, I don't think another starter really moves the needle because your rotation shrinks anyways. And I love our top three, and Christopher Sanchez is great.
One thing, if you're looking to trade for Crochet, he would be a sick reliever. He would be sick. You shut him down and you send him to the bullpen, he could probably close for you, which is cool.
That would be a hell of a upgrade over the Gregory Soto left-handed spot in the bullpen.
Now, if that's something they wanted to sell me on, they move him to the bullpen and have him be your highest leverage reliever with Alvarado, and then he can serve as innings until you get to later in the season. That's interesting. We can talk about that, but that's a lot of planning, and I don't think.
And then go back to starting next year.
Yeah, it's a lot, but